last year was definitely a little bit frustrating. I think, the first half of the year was really good. Kind of overall, we always want to have a little bit more, I guess, but, we're a pretty good position, I think, going into UAA. And then I think just kind of stumbled a little bit in some of the games, and some games like, winning and concede goals late and tie or lose or things like this. So, yeah, it didn't quite finish how we would have hoped. I think, things that we definitely need to improve a little bit defensively. We had a lot of experience with guys in the back line last year, and I think just different moments of the game for sure. Definitely want to score more goals, always. But so I think, from a just on-field perspective, I think that was a big thing. But I think in my mind as well, like probably the overarching things were leadership, a little bit of the group dynamic, culture, stuff like that. I think if those pieces, if we were a little bit stronger in those aspects, I think maybe we would have found a way to get more results in certain moments. So I think those have been probably the biggest point of emphasis for me as we move into the offseason this year is growing that aspect, and being really strong culturally, and being really strong from a leadership perspective, and really developing players in that regard. And I think when we've been successful, 2022, 2023, I think it's been, sure, you got to have talent and those kind of things, but it's been for those reasons. And so I think that's kind of the big thing that we're hoping to be better in as far as the 2025 season. So as far as Bradley, like, honestly can't say enough good things about him. He's a super leader, really talented, just like a model of every single thing you'd want, playing wise, character wise, leadership wise, all these kind of things. So he's fantastic. He's been great every year in the program, been an all UAA guy every year that he's kind of been the starter. So really excited about having him back. And I think he's really kind of one of the heartbeats of the program, and setting the tone and the culture and leading and stuff. So he's fantastic. I think he's going to have a really good senior year. Carter, we're really excited about as well. I mean, he's got really good size. I think he's a really good shot stopper. Like, I think his future is really, really bright, and we're super excited to have him here too. And I think this will be a really good year for him to, kind of compete with Brad, but as well learn a lot from Brad too, and kind of prep him as he moves into, his future. As of now, really there's the only person that's healthy from last year that played in the back four is Philip Washington. Cameron Thayer may or may not end up featuring this year. He's coming off an MCL tear. So that's a little bit of a challenge for sure. I think that's one of the, the back four is one of the, really important positions in the team, and especially the center backs are kind of part of the spine of the team. So it's really tough to not have some of those guys that, I think last year they gained a lot of experience, guys like Cormac, guys like Cameron, and you'd really like be hoping this year to then really benefit from that. So it's a challenge, but it is what it is. And I think some of the new players, like in this year's freshman class, like we're going to have to play some freshmen in the back, and but I think there's some really good guys back there that can compete right away, like Alex Eby and Gavin Trosh, and having Philip back there helps. Philip Lesteris is another guy that I think could have a good year, and kind of transferred to us a year ago from Ohio Northern and stuff. So those are some of the guys that that we're looking at least initially, that are competing back there. There's others obviously as well, but yeah, and just looking to be again more sound defensively. I think for us last year, like, I think the back four, they were all good players, but I think that being the first year they really got minutes, I think sometimes that inexperience can hurt you in moments. And so we're hoping to, just be a little bit more solid from a defensive standpoint, and just tough to break down. I'm really excited about the midfield. I think that's, an area where there's a lot of like talent. There's a lot of, depending on the position, a lot of experience. Like Sean's played a lot of games. Cam Larson has played a ton of games. And they're both fantastic players. I think there's some really talented young players, some guys in the freshman class, as well as like some of the returning like rising sophomores like Owen Guffey, Ashton McNally. And Ashton is like super talented. Just have him healthy is great. Obviously, Adam is got a ton of experience now as well, and is, I think, going to have a really good junior year. So, yeah, I think that group in the midfield, I think, could be really fantastic in terms of helping generate activities, pressing and defending, and just kind of really setting the tempo and the tone for the matches and the games and stuff. So that's definitely an area we're really excited about, and hoping to have a strong group in that position category this year. Amir is one that I think could really kind of break out this year. Like he had a very solid freshman year. and continue that kind of through the off season into this fall. Like he's a super talented player, like a true goal scorer, a really good leader. Like he's fantastic. So I think this could be a really big breakout year for him. Obviously there's other guys like some of the younger guys, McLaren's, around with some of his experience, but guys like Ethan Barr, I think have a bright future. You might see like Micah Rawson is another freshman I think is really talented, could play up there. Steve has played up there, Velardo in the past, and he may end up playing more so for midfield for us, but he brings a ton with like just his work rate, his energy, some of the experience and stuff like that. And he's a huge kind of presence in the group, in the locker room, stuff like that. So I'm very excited for him to be out there and contributing this year as well. So yeah, we're excited about those guys, and just excited to again building those relationships and the culture and the chemistry and the midfield and those guys. And it's a good group and good mentality, good work rate, and hopeful of what they can kind of achieve. The non-conference is going to be really challenging. I mean, starting with the first game, like I think Franciscan's going to be a super hard game. To play Juniata like right after that in the weekend is going to be really difficult. Like, so we have a lot of respect for those programs and like the opening weekend games and just all the opponents throughout the year. So a lot of tough matches. I mean, definitely like as well, John Carroll, Kenyon, Otterbein, and that all falls within like the same week, those games. So we're really trying to, again, play a lot of top teams, try and prepare ourselves well, for UAA. The UAA is, definitely always one of the best conferences in the country in men's soccer. Like you mentioned, a little bit of a dip last year for sure is kind of uncharacteristic, but I expect, it to be really strong and everybody kind of sort of, level up here again this year. And so it'll be super challenging. There's not a single easy game. People ask me that, like, who's tough, or who do you like to play? Like every single game in the UAA is super hard. All the teams are really strong. All the schools are strong. All the players are good. All the coaches are good. So, we've definitely got our work cut out for us, but hoping to prep well in the non-conference and start to get ourselves ready, and then just, put our best foot forward in UAA and see what we can do. It's kind of how we think about and how we define success is kind of the idea of excellence, like pursuing a level of excellence in everything we're doing. So training, video, meetings, doing the best that you are possibly capable of in your work ethic, your preparation, your focus, these kind of things. As simple as it sounds, I think to me, like, that's really kind of what I'm thinking about. Sure, we certainly want to win matches, and we have hopes and dreams and all that kind of stuff from that standpoint. But I think really all I'm thinking of is, can we maximize every single day the best of what we can do in every single thing we're doing? And I think if we can do that and look day in, day out at those things individually, collectively, that's success in my opinion. And I think some of the performance and more on-field, stuff tends to follow from focusing on things like that I think ultimately lead to success. So that's what we're trying to really do, focus on building the people in our program. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about for us. So that's where our first focus is. And again, the chips will kind of fall where they may from there.